Well, good Tuesday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. I am Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for, my friend.
Oh, we've got a jam-packed show. We're going to recap the Monday Night Football game, which turned out to be a hell of a game. We'll have our waiver wire pickups today. We'll have 24KG joining us for our weekly wrestling segment at 8 o'clock. Plus, we'll get into some trades, some injury updates, all sorts of stuff to talk about. But for our listeners, we've got 2 pairs of tickets to the Kern County Fair. And if you can't tell, this morning it's nice and cool. And that means the fair is right around the corner. I believe it's 7-8 days away. So if you'd like to win a pair of Kern County Fair tickets on us, just text in throughout the show to 661-842-2000.
Absolutely. But we got to start with this Monday Night Football game because, yesterday I was singing the praises of the Buffalo Bills, 15-point comeback. The Minnesota Vikings decided to pull off their own last night as well behind rookie J.J. McCarthy. And one thing that I have to highlight throughout this entire game, 3 quarters, the Chicago Bears looked fantastic. They really did. Caleb Williams looked like he was running faster than I've ever seen him run before. He was making great reads, great plays. Now, a handful of them, sure, still had some mistakes in there, but that's to be expected. Brand new offense. We don't know what we're going to get yet. However, the one coach that I have to give the most kudos to, Kevin O'Connell. Because throughout this entire struggle in the first 3 quarters, Justin Jefferson not getting the ball, JJ not looking great at all. I'm pretty sure they were held to under 50 yards throughout the first 3 quarters of the game. It was a rough going. And if it wasn't for Brian Flores and this defense of willpower, they would not have been anywhere close or in this game at all to be able to make this comeback. But O'Connell made one of the best moves, in my opinion, when it comes to having a rookie quarterback. He just told him, dude, you're doing fine. There was never a moment where you saw him get angry at JJ, get angry at the plays that were being made, even though there were none really to be happy about. But the entire game, even after that pick 6, where honestly, I think a lot of people were sitting there wondering, this game might be over. This entire idea of JJ McCarthy might not be the idea that Minnesota hoped it would be. And we're just going to have to hit the reset button and the purple machine's going to have to start over next year.
Not to lie, that's when I switched over and I watched the ticker.
Yeah.
But I started raw. I was like, okay, this one looks like it's over. But luckily, around 8-9 minutes left in the fourth, I turned it back.
But if you watch J.J. McCarthy at Michigan, this was peak J.J. from Michigan. Because you have to realize J.J. in college very rarely had a big yardage game. He was more in the 200-yard range, and Harbaugh kept him that with a solid run game. And to be honest with you, once they figured out the running back that worked in Minnesota, Jordan Mason, for everybody who's wondering, drop Aaron Jones right now.
You're out of your damn mind.
Oh, I'm
you got
off.
Me double digits, and he's the receiving running back that you want.
Right now.
No, he looked good after in the fourth quarter.
I'm in the opposite train on this one, my friend.
I got 15 plus points out of him. I loved it.
I'm with the Jordan Mason crowd now. Hold on to that guy because, oh my Lord, was he cutting through that defense. But once you figured out the run game, JJ was able to get comfortable. Once JJ was able to get comfortable, plays were being made. That led to 21 points in the fourth quarter and a win 27-24 over the Bears. And everybody in Chicago right now is crying because they thought the mush actually helped them yesterday. Thanks, Ralph Bailey.
Yeah.
But at this point, that was probably the rockiest win you could have asked for in Minnesota, but you will take it and run like a thief. But I still have to give kudos to Kevin O'Connell, because for him to step into this and just poised, no concern whatsoever, said, no, this is all going exactly the way I want it to. And it ended the exact way he wanted it to.
And we talked about O'Connell. I mean, even last year when he was hurt, he would meet with this quarterback every week, go over tape. He was invested in JJ. And you could tell when they let Donald go, he had a plan. And his plan was JJ. And even at halftime, when he looked like, his debut game on a Monday Night Football game, he was saying, dude, he's doing everything I want him to do. and I'm going to stick with him, and it paid out. And that's what the type of coach you want when you have a young quarterback, and he's obviously invested. And I have to give big credits to JJ McCarthy and O'Connell. And one of my favorite parts is with the last 2 minutes when they kicked off the ball, and with 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 5 or something left, and they tried to kick it out of the end zone, didn't make it, and Coach O'Connell said, "Run it out." And luckily, he was able to run it out and give that team, the 2 minute warning, and killed an extra, 10 seconds that the Bears didn't have to come back.
And again, not to keep singing the guy's praises, but his decision making late in the game as well, to use the timeouts even when you didn't need to, and just eat up the clock as much as humanly possible. I feel bad for the Bears because you didn't really get a chance to, capitalize on this comeback that could have been. But realistically, you had plenty of opportunity throughout the rest of this game to score. You didn't. I think there's still some question marks in terms of the Caleb Williams situation, although he looked good. Completed 60% of his passes. I think they still want that a little bit higher, but didn't throw a pick, didn't really throw the game away realistically. He looked better than he looked last year, and they finally got an offensive line in front of him that can protect him. I think that they just kind of had the same issue that the Minnesota Vikings were running into towards the end of this game, which was they ran into a wall with the run game, and Swift couldn't get anywhere. And I'm honestly starting to get concerned about that because we forget that DeAndre Swift originally started with Ben Johnson. This is your second go round with the guy, and Ben let you go the first time. So DeAndre Swift owners right now for fantasy football, ooh, that's another guy I was going to highlight this week that you may want to maybe bench him this week and see what the hell they can get going, because there was not a whole ton there from my perspective, and you can get a lot more from other people.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who you got and what waivers we can get you this week, but I wouldn't overreact too bad. I mean, you were going up against a stiff Minnesota defense. So, I mean, depending on who they're playing next week and who you got on your bench,
Fair.
I would there's definitely the same thing as you brought up. I love Jordan Mason, and I didn't let him get by me in the
No.
drafts. I picked him up late in several drafts, but I will say Aaron Jones is the third down and short and the receiving receiver that they're probably going to use, or the running back receiver. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mason gets more carries if you're looking for the running back. But if you have a PPR spot in your league, I still think Jones is solid for 15 points. As long, I mean, the Bears defense isn't a pushover either. So I mean,
Fair.
I would give a couple of these players. I know everybody is this is the weeks where everybody overreacts and cuts players, and then in a couple weeks they're like, "Oh, damn,
No, that's
they
absolutely
go
fair.
back into the move." But I would second everything you just said. Jordan Mason is not a push, and I'm
No.
surprised Frisco gave up on him so quick.
To be honest, I think Frisco just kind of believed that they'd get a healthy Christian McCaffrey back. What's
Mhm.
the point in keeping both? But obviously, you would hope that they would learn from their mistake. That obviously he was a running back by committee last year for a reason.
And the backfield that Frisco has, whether it's Garendo and all these other guys,
Yeah.
I was surprised that they didn't trade
Well,
him, and I would have
Kyle
kept Mason personally.
Kyle Shanahan, though, has a innate ability to find a fantastic running back to fill
Those
his
hidden
needs.
gems, he's good
I
at it.
mean, granted, Christian McCaffrey's on the team. Let's push that out of the way. Let's go back to his years with Atlanta, where he found Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, not to mention other running backs that got involved throughout the years as well. He's always had a good run game, and he'll figure out a way to scheme it in there. So Jordan Mason coming out in Minnesota, I think there was a lot of question marks if he was really a guy or if he was just kind of the beneficiary to a great offense that was kind of Kyle Shanahan's. So I think that this game you're kind of seeing that no, Jordan can really be that one guy for you at the running back position. I'm just worried that when it comes to Aaron Jones, I agree with you. In this game alone, he was a, the top receiving back, or the top receiver, period, for Minnesota. But realistically, you look at what they were going up against. JJ had to throw a lot of those passes under pressure and quickly. They weren't necessarily schemed for Jones. It was more of a last second thing. Now, if this offensive line in Minnesota can't figure it out, I agree with you 110%. Keep Aaron Jones because obviously JJ is going to be going there more often than not, as well as the tight ends. And Justin Jefferson owners are going to be very, very upset because you're not going to have the time to throw it to Justin anymore, or Adam Thielen, or Jordan Addison for that matter.
Well, that's where I was starting to get nervous in the third quarter. I was like, "Damn, dude," because this is the one year I was able to get Jefferson,
Right.
and I was like, "Man, is this going to
And of
be a
course,
rough season?"
he didn't get it until the end of the
Late.
game, and lucky for you guys that he got 4 catches and a touchdown to bump him up in the double digits.
But thank you for YouTube TV because I was able to stream on both sides with the multi
It works
screens.
out.
I felt like Verdict. I had multi
I'm telling you,
sports
dude.
on
You
my
you give
TV.
me grief. I need to take a picture. You guys need to see my stuff because I don't have the luxury of multiple televisions, so I have to figure out how to put up multiple screens. So
Yeah,
my phone has one with a headphone in my ear. My TV's got another, and I got the living room TV on something else too. And I am walking between the three.
we are
It
definitely the
is
king of
oh
multitasking.
I have red zone without having red zone. Let's just say
Uh-huh.
that. But regardless, I love what I saw from both of these teams. I think it's going to be a successful season from both of them. I'm curious what we're going to get from Ben Johnson in this offense in Chicago because the only thing that kind of keeps me wondering about this is that Ben Johnson, although a brand new head coach to Chicago, is not new to taking on Ben Flores and the Minnesota Vikings. He's been doing it for years now, and the fact that you still haven't figured out this defense and figured out how to combat it successfully with the pieces you have kind of concerns me.
And he barely blitzed.
He did. He did not a typical Brian Flores defensive day. And honestly, I think that's because Harrison Smith didn't play, because having a guy like Harrison Smith in the back to help you with dang near anything you need at safe position gives you that luxury.
Yeah, and I think they didn't blitz as much because they know Caleb was going to run.
That too. Caleb
Because
looked
that last
fantastic.
run in the fourth, I was like,
Well, the
okay,
first touchdown run, I was like, I don't think I've seen that boy run that fast ever.
you look good.
I was like, "Oh my god, we got another wheelhouse here." But again,
And luckily, DJ Moore is all right because that pop in
yes.
the late in the game, I was like,
Well,
oh damn.
and I feel bad. Did you see the picture that's going around the internet right now? Somebody in fantasy football lost because that last play, the DJ Moore pitch back that ended up being a
Oh, he
fumble,
lost
lost him
yards.
points.
I
And
hate that.
I hate that too. That's the one thing I hate about that stupid play that they always do. They pitch to each other. It's like, has that ever worked?
And
It's worked one time in my lifetime that I remember.
that was going to be my question. That last drive, I know they didn't have much time, but it almost felt like they fumbled those play calls because that moving DJ Moore at the end, and that's
Mm,
another thing. People, I don't know if they're used to it yet, but the NFL and officiating are going to get into the players or teams like Dolphins, 49ers that run a lot of these motions.
yeah,
And if you're not set when they hike the ball, it's a flag. And
we
that
saw it
they caught the
multiple
Bears
times over the
several
weekend.
times.
Yeah, that is one thing that I kinda wasn't crazy about when it came to the Bears yesterday was there were a lot of penalties and dumb penalties, a lot of false starts, a lot of holdings, and like you said, a lot of these illegal motion penalties that really should have been cleaned up in the preseason. So that really, I think, led to a lot of the scoring drives or what could have been scoring drives being taken away from the Bears. But it is rough to say that it's just something you're gonna have to learn because this is a new tweak to the rule that everybody's gonna have to get used to. I've seen it multiple I mean, we saw it multiple times in the Philly game as well. Smith got busted for it a handful of times because he wasn't set when they actually started the play. It is it's really something that we should have already been incorporating in the game already, though, because, I mean, you've seen it in arena football, and it kinda works. I think a lot of people like the whole idea of the receiver running beforehand,
That was the whole thing Mike McDaniel was doing.
but it is a massive disadvantage to the defense. It really, truly is, and honestly, I get we handcuff defenses enough as it is, so you've gotta do something, anything to really give back, and this is one of the small steps to do that. So offense has just gotta figure that part out, in my opinion. I don't think you're gonna see it very much going on down the season because knowing these head coaches, you'll get that cleaned up real quick. But if you can't, and the Chicago Bears end up having this issue throughout the season and penalties end up being what shoots you in the foot, I mean, I think you could still live with that because those are mental things that you can wash away throughout a year or 2. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll take our first break. We'll get into some other NFL news. There was a trade, some injuries that were come out, and the Giants decided on who is starting at quarterback this week. We'll get into that and much more right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back, early bird special right here on 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield. That was weird. I don't know why we got a
I'm getting echo on my video side.
I know, that was odd. They're not usually used
But some NFL miscellaneous news that came out besides the Eagles trading for running back Tank Bigsby from the Jacksonville Jaguars
to
for a fifth
shocking.
and sixth round.
That was shocking to me just because I figured Travis Etienne was the running back on the way out, but it looks like maybe it's the other way around now.
I mean, he did have a hell of a
He
game
did.
against Carolina.
Well, his brother was on the other side. Of course, he's going to have a big game.
But the news came out was Shipley, the rookie over in Philly's hurt.
Oh Lord,
So that's why they were adding some depth into their backfield.
not that they need it. I mean, they got the best running back in football, but I think Tank Bigsby will be a good backup to Saquon Barkley, a good power back that they can lean on during these, goal line situations. Although, again, I wouldn't hand it to anybody else outside of Saquon Barkley ever, ever. But at this point, I think for those of you who are wondering about the Jacksonville Jaguars running back situation, especially those of you who have drafted Travis go back to their college days playing in Clemson together. So maybe that had a long-standing thing to do with it too. I know chemistry within a team is huge, and honestly, the video that came out over the weekend of Shad Khan with his little motivational speech after the win, it was fantastic. I'm not sure exactly how much you're going to get that though throughout the season. I'm still not a firm believer that Cohen is going to be able to turn this team around like people think they are, but we'll see what we will see going into the season. I know week 2 is going to be a big week for them, especially after seeing a rough start from Trevor Lawrence. I'm not really happy with what I saw from him, to be honest with you, especially being he is going into now being a veteran in the league, so you would assume he'd be able to make a lot of these plays they were asking him to make, and although JC Horn made an incredible interception, still say that was a really poorly thrown ball.
I'm not sold on Trevor Lawrence. I haven't really been, and with all the roulette of coaches he's dealt with, I'm still not sold that he's the quarterback of the future. But they paid him like it won, same as Miami and Tua. But we won't get into that. Some news out of Frisco. So George Kittle suffered his right hamstring strain and is now expected to miss several weeks. And Coach Harbaugh or Coach Harbaugh, coach is saying maybe 3 to 5 weeks. That was the update last night after the
I'd
Monday
expect
night game.
3.
Brock Purdy is also questionable game time decision. We might see little Mac Jones this week as they're taking on, I believe they're playing the Saints. Yeah, they're in
Yeah,
New Orleans
Niners
this
had the
week.
Saints this week.
So if you're gonna have a week off, that might be the best one to do so. And some other news out of the NFL. Also wanted to talk about that fan that we talked about a little bit
Yes,
yesterday
being banned from NFL stadiums. I
in the
actually
Ravens
like
game.
that.
Me too.
I am all for that. I mean, I know this guy's a kid, or I should say a kid. He looked like he was in his 20s, maybe early teens. I'm sorry, not early teens, late teens. I honestly, this needs to happen more. I think fans need to know that there is a line that you cannot cross, and or making contact with players like that is one of them. There was no reason for you to be hitting their helmets like that. Like, if you're tapping the top saying, "Hey, man, good game, good try," all that type of stuff, that is what it is, but we know that's not what you were doing. So, I'm all for the NFL throwing down the levy like this. What are your thoughts?
I was glad they jumped on it quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they also respectfully had to say, "Oh, well, you're going to look into Lamar pushing back," but I think
He's
he's
defending himself.
defending
He's defending
himself.
his teammate.
If they touch, I mean, I know he had pushed DeAndre Hopkins' helmet, but I think that's just kind of what we had talked about in other things that's happened over, the fanatic type things. There's a line, and if anything, you're making it harder for other fans. You're
Mhm,
making us look like jackasses.
mhm.
And when you reach out to touch anybody in any sports event or any live event, it's just stupid. But
You
now he's
ruin
banned for all NFL stadiums.
good. You ruin it for everybody else. You really do. You ruin the experience for everyone else. And to be honest with you, I love hearing this from all the athletes. I've been talking about it for the past day and a half, but don't do anything as a fan while being a fan that you wouldn't do out in person. You wouldn't do that to Lamar or DeAndre in person. You wouldn't walk up to him and slap him upside the head if you saw him in a restaurant. Now, would you?
You get knocked out.
Exactly. So don't act like you can do that because you bought a ticket. Knock it off. I don't care if you're a fan. I've said this many times on this show. We have to draw a line with fandom. Fighting in the stands, fighting with fans. I'm sorry, fighting with players or coaches, throwing stuff on the field, throwing stuff at those guys, doing anything that's out of line should get you banned. You do not deserve to be a fan. If you can't act right, you're not a fan. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry.
I'm not
I'm
sorry.
not sorry.
I
If you can't act right, especially in public, you do not deserve to be a fan of anybody.
I can hear Hop in my
Period.
backfield. I'm not sorry I took the money. But no, I mean it goes back. We've talked about it for months. I mean, whether it's in the stadiums or when you run into them in public,
Mhm.
we've seen a lot of it in the wrestling world where whether it was CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, where the OnlyFans model was pushing and touching them, and even to the point most recent was the Rhea Ripley where she was bombarded trying to get into Uber car where she
Yep.
couldn't even open the damn door, and it went to the point where, I mean, as a fan of both wrestling and sports, I mean, I'm just like, dude, I've ran into famous people and I'm almost don't even want to say hi
See, and it's
because of what these crazy fans
exactly.
have done in the past.
And I feel so bad. Like walking around LA and stuff, you obviously run into people. I've met so many awesome celebrities that are so nice in public. I mean, Topher Grace was awesome when I met him at a restaurant. Lamar Odom was really cool. Like, but it's true. Like anytime you see them, it's like a pool of people, and it's like, dude, I don't want to be
In
that
that group.
guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to like if I meet him in person and be like, "Oh, dude, nice to meet you. You're awesome. I love big fan of your work. That's fantastic." That is the way it should be. I get being a fan and wanting to take your picture with the person, and I'm sure there's a million other people that feel the exact same way you do. But remember, these people are people, and it's actually much worse for them because they can't retaliate. If they retaliate in any way, shape, or form at all, either physically or verbally, they get destroyed online because no one ever asks, what did the person do to be reacted to like that? Like, no one ever thinks of it that way because for some reason we all just want to point the finger at the celebrity and say bad person. It's like, no,
What'd you expect? You're famous.
exactly. It's like, knock that off. That does not come with fame. That's all of you people taking it to an extreme that we really shouldn't. And it goes to this as well. Like, I mean, we didn't get to talk about it at extent yesterday. I'm glad we got to bring it up today. But this kid being expelled from all NFL stadiums, good. Good. I hope you never get let in. Genuinely.
Yeah.
I hope you have to watch every single game from a bar stool because that's where people like you deserve to watch them
Uh-huh.
in a bar. If you want to be drunk and rowdy and stupid, go somewhere private where you can be drunk and rowdy and stupid.
Yeah. Stay in your mom's basement.
Exactly. Let the people who can actually, oh, I don't know, control themselves and be normal human beings actually enjoy the game.
Well, before we get away from football, we'll take our break. We'll get into our waiver wire pickups. And if you'd like to win a pair of Kern County Fair tickets, text in anytime throughout the show. We'll have 2 pairs to give away today because we didn't give our pair away yesterday. Just text into the show 661-842-2000. We are the early bird special on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM. That's what I'm saying. The Wednesday thing is always what made it sound right? No, that sounds all right. 2-2, to be honest with you. The work league ended up having to go against Josh Allen and Derrick Henry, so obviously that wasn't very good for me. The others played pretty well. I can't complain. So you auto draft? Ooh. Well, that's always fun. Figure something out. I keep telling people, everyone gave me grief this year. Granted, here's why I did it. But in a lot of my leagues, I got higher draft picks than I like. I don't like drafting in the top five, really. I really don't. I hate being in the first one, especially. I don't understand why everyone, I want first pick. I need first pick. I don't care. You can have it. I have never once won a fantasy football league where I had the first overall pick. So feel free to take it, especially in the second. Yeah, like 7, 8. I like that number as well, especially if you're in a 12-man league where you're maybe waiting 5 picks at the most. But I, it is hard for me to justify taking a quarterback early, regardless. In my case, I had like the third and fourth pick in a lot of my drafts this year. Hate that, but it is what it is. I'm here to so I'm not. But on the opposite end, all the other good players are usually gone, especially running backs. So, next best thing, the two quarterbacks that essentially double as running backs, like Josh Allen and Lamar. So, either one of those you win. I ended up taking Josh Allen very early into my drafts, and I'm not going to promise you that right now. I got a lot of grief. A lot of my family members text me, like, really quarterback? Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to guys like oh, you have to. You have to make moves that you don't think anybody else is going to make. Because and a lot of the time you can start one that you didn't realize you started. Because I think they're in the league like players and people don't really understand the value of those players. You'll see them picking them up far too early. I said it last week. I made fun of a lot of guys in our league because they took individual defensive players before they took defenses and special teams. Dumb, dumb. I waited the last 6 picks. I really did. Aiden did not. I'm not gonna lie. I drafted Aiden well. He got me I think half a point, but regardless, it's just he didn't look good. And that's the price you pay sometimes with these individual defensive players. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes they can be as good as a wide receiver. Sometimes they can be a big fat goose egg. No safeties, I find do great. Uh, High tackling linebackers for the middle guys, not necessarily the outside guys. The only outside guys you should really go for are the ones who lead in stacks. So Trey Hendrickson, Michael Parsons. I mean Dexter, or no, I guess Dexter Lawrence is more of a defensive tackle than he is a defensive end. But regardless, if you're looking for an end, you got to get the guys who get nothing but sacks because that's where you're going to get punches on. I only have one. I mean, you asked me to grab one, and to be honest with you, there's only one guy that's on my list right now, and I know half of you don't have him on the roster. Michael Penix. I know. And this is not me talking as a Falcons fan. I promise you. This is me based on what I saw against Tampa Bay. He was poised. He looked like a starter for multiple years, and that matters as a young quarterback. He made the right plays. He himself made plays that I have not seen in quite some time. And when he dove right to get into the end zone for a touchdown, get them the lead, that was something that I think really solidified himself as this dude's a dude. This guy's a dog. And I promise you right now, with the pieces he's got in Atlanta, you're gonna have high points. So if you are a guy that's not really sold on the quarterback you have right now, or if you're looking at somebody that maybe you had CJ Stroud, you're not really crazy about what you got, but maybe you want to hold on to him for a couple weeks, but you need somebody to get you over the top. Michael Penix might be the guy that at least gets you started on the right foot, and then you may want to move to somebody else later on in the year. But right now, I think Michael Penix is the guy that you need to put on your fantasy team. Right. He's washed, man. That's what everyone keeps saying, right? And he's washed. More touchdowns, but he's washed. Mhm. Mhm. I was watching that game and wondering if it was a bad idea that they didn't play him a ton in preseason and give him a little bit of competition. You know what I mean? Try to get him back into the saddle he was in last year, especially after the long injury. And I think the beginning of the game we really saw a lot of rust. So I'm not really crazy about jumping on JK right now until I can see him at least get over 200 yards in the NFL because that's going to be a big tell. But at this point, if you like what I saw in the fourth quarter, I think you're right. If they're at least around in the game, JJ can win it for you. And really, all you need from your quarterback is touchdowns. Absolutely. Yep. And they got the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up this weekend. So the only one that I saw now, well, there was another one, but I'm not going to put any Jacksonville running back until I see what the idea is, that they're going forward with. If that's going to be Travis Etienne or if they are going to continue to go by committee. So at this point, the only one that I would really look eye on would be Dylan Sampson for Cleveland. Now, until Hopkins can come in and actually be the starter or at least work himself into that starting rotation, Sampson's going to be the guy for them. They're going into a major matchup against the Baltimore Ravens this weekend, who surprisingly let up a lot on the ground. I'm not expecting Sampson to reach over 100 yards, but I would expect him to be point in the game, some sort of cushion for Joe Flacco to work with. So I would expect Sampson to at least get to the show. Kenneth Walker, too, is not really turning into that running back that everyone was hoping he would. And I have not really been keeping him in leagues. I know he was high up on a lot of people's fantasy. I kept seeing him go higher. Yeah, good luck with that because I don't have a lot of. Like, I mean, you guys have heard it all year. They're all off season. I don't have a lot of faith in the Seahawks this year. Don't know how much Sam Darnold with Cooper Kupp are going to be able to get going. They really have not had a good running game at all in the past 5 years. So I don't expect to hold on to the running back. What the heck? So I don't expect to hold. To be honest with you, there's only one. And I got the Jacksonville. Yeah, you're not there. Why are you not there? Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Apologies, our stream is having some issues today, video-wise. Apparently, Sparky was not seen throughout that entire segment.
Nice.
So I think I've got it fixed now. I'm pretty sure we're good to go now.
The echo's gone. I'm good.
Right? That's what I'm thinking too. Real quick though, Spark, since they didn't get to hear your rundown real quick, let them know what your quarterback and running back positions are. and then we can go
Quarterbacks,
for
I would
the wide receivers.
I'm keeping an eye on Aaron Rodgers after almost hitting 300 yards and finishing with 4 touchdowns, and JJ McCarthy after last night. I wouldn't jump on him, but you might want to put him on your bench, and maybe you might have a gym for your quarterback's bye week. Running back are really tough to find right now. I threw out Charbonnet in Seattle just because it seemed like when they needed a big run, that's who they were actually leaning on,
Right.
not the other guy. But it's Seattle. I like you said, I'm not sold on their whole damn offense. So
Really not. I mean, obviously you got a quarterback that's capable in Sam Darnold. You picked up a wide receiver that everybody has a lot of hope for, and Cooper Kupp coming back home to Washington. I just got to see more. I got to see something that leads me to believe that you could at least put up a fight against teams like the Rams. Because I mean, at this point, that's the dog to me. That's their top dog. Because the Niners, as much as I would like to say you can compete, there's a lot of injuries happening again, including potentially not even having your starting quarterback in week 2. So that's going to be concerning. If you lose to the Saints, I'm unloading. Sorry. I know way too many 49er fans not to. Let's run to the wide receiver position, though. I personally am picking somebody that's connected to your quarterback. I love Calvin Austin. I loved what I saw from him in game 1. 17 points for you as somebody who is not even rostered in, I think, 1% of people's fantasy teams right now in NFL. So if you're looking for a wide receiver, especially that underdog wide receiver right now that could potentially put you back into contention and get you double-digit points, I think Calvin Austin, from what I saw in week 1 with Aaron Rodgers, has made at least some sort of connection and, chemistry with him that this may continue. And Aaron loves his speedy receivers. He really does. Although he loves throwing to guys like DK and Jonnu Smith, which are easy targets, he loves hitting that guy deep. And it looks like Calvin Austin might be that guy for Pittsburgh this
yeah,
week.
it looks like his favorite receiver right now. And I'm going to go with Quentin Johnston in LA. Whether it's the Herbert train where he was feeding everybody, but the kid finished with 5 receptions, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
And I saw in 7 of my leagues, he was available in 5 of them. So I'm keeping an eye out on Quentin Johnston. Luckily for me, I'm not really wide receiver needy, but wide receivers are usually the easier waiver wire pickups because everybody has, 2 or 3 of them. But if you're needy for a receiver, I would keep an eye out on Quentin Johnston. Moving over to the tight end position, where tight ends, I will say, are hit and miss.
They really are.
With a lot, you might have one of the best tight ends. A lot of them, like the rookie for the Colts we've talked about. He's going to get fed.
And, Colston Loveland, although not getting a ton of love last night, I expect him to get more targets going on through the season. I mean, you heard many times the commentators, especially Aikman, was highlighting, Loveland was wide open on that play, and he was meant to throw it to him, but he didn't. And it's like, I think you're going to see a lot more from the kid going forward, too. So if he is available in some of your leagues, I pick him up.
I did pick him up, and I was pissed because he was wide open, and Aikman kept circling him.
I know he only had 1 catch, but another tight end that's a rookie to look out for that I love what I saw from him was Mason Taylor of the Jets. Jonathan Taylor's son. Jason Taylor. I'm sorry. Jason Taylor's son. Jonathan Taylor. Really quick for that one. No, I'm sorry. The great JT's son, Joy Taylor's nephew. He looks fantastic for what the Jets need, and Justin loves his tight ends. I expect them to kind of get something going here in the next couple of weeks. Don't expect him to be the top pass catcher. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're somebody who waited till the very end of the draft and totally forgot about tight end, and maybe you have Kyle Pitts and you're saying, oh God, what did I do? This might be a guy that could sneak into that upper echelon there, but maybe 20 tight ends by the end of the year. So I would keep an eye on him just because I see something trending going forward. It probably won't happen in week 2, but it could be something to look at.
With the tight ends, I threw in Hunter Henry just because he is always the blanket in New England. I'm going to continue. I've got Loveland, but I think I'm going to stick with him. I'm not ready to jump over because Hunter Henry had an all right game. But it's easy to look at tight ends and then look at last week's stats and think, okay, this guy's gonna get me multiple point or double digits. Right. and then they get 0 the next week.
Right.
That's how tight ends work.
It's rough,
I,
but
I wouldn't go jumping back and forth with tight ends, just ride. But, I was going to ask you about Pitts. I didn't get to see any really of the Falcons game besides the first half.
Kyle looked like Kyle.
Really?
That's all I can say. Kyle looked like Kyle. And at this point, I'm just it's limbo. I mean, it you know how good he can be, and Penix wants to get him the ball. It's just got to find the right opportunities to do that. I think with Drake London potentially being injured for the next couple weeks and Mooney still dealing with his injury as well, you're going to see a lot of fluctuation towards Kyle. So if you have Kyle Pitts, don't fret. I think you're going to have plenty of targets to go into in the next couple weeks. But I would be concerned going forward when Drake and Mooney come back because he may get lost in that offense again, to be honest with you.
And kickers are kickers. I didn't
Grab
usually
the
pick up a kicker, but I
no.
will say
Grab the best available at this
that one
point.
with the Ravens that stepped in with Tucker out, he looked good.
And Mason, I'm not Mason Prater. I'm sorry, Prater in Buffalo. If Bass doesn't end up coming back, and maybe you drafted Tyler Bass for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
it would
I
be a
did.
solid one to pick up. Kickers are kickers, like he said. Just grab the best available one. Whoever you think is going to be scoring the most this weekend in terms of touchdowns. I mean, like their offenses are going to be doing the best. Pick up that guy because that's going to be the most opportunity for you.
I picked out Denver's kicker thinking, okay, well, he's got the length and he's got the help with, half of the season in Denver.
Yep.
And they didn't kick him like 3 times when they had field goal range. They went for it on 4th. So that was a just dumb move for me.
Sean Payton, man, he loves to keep everybody on their toes.
But in the final 2 minutes, we've got our defenses. Anybody out there? I dropped the Lions after, or I will be dropping the Lions after this week 1. I'm just not sold on them, and I was the same one. I will take it. I'm the one that thinks, okay, Detroit is going to be fine. They're Detroit, and I'm starting to feel like Detroit's not Detroit yet, but I could be wrong again. So who knows?
I think week 2, you'll see a big step forward on the defensive side for Detroit, but I wouldn't start them either, to be honest with you. My defense to look out for, and I said it when we were talking about our defenses and special teams, the Packers. I like what I saw, and that is just the start without Micah Parsons really being a big piece of it. We're going to be seeing a lot more of Micah Parsons in this defense. And to be honest with you, I think we're going to see a lot of success from this defense going forward. Micah and this Packers D is going to just run down people every single week. So I would jump on this bandwagon now before everybody else does in weeks 3 and 4.
My Rams, or the defense for me is the Rams. I like what I've seen at the Rams, and I'll probably just swap out the Lions for the Rams.
Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad pickup. The Rams have silently turned that defense into a contender, even without Aaron Donald. I think a lot of people were expecting when Aaron Donald retired that defense was going to go with it. Very safe assumption, to be completely honest with you, when you have one of the greatest to ever play at his position retire. But they were able to pull in 2 very young defensive tackles that fill that need very easily. And they rely on that young defense to make plays. Sean McVay has been very, very vocal about how much he can trust his defense. So if you're a Rams fan, I think you guys are sitting pretty right now. And it's with a group of people that I don't want to call you guys no names, but not very well known players. Not a lot of people know who Kobe Turner is. Let's be honest.
I love that Jared Verse.
Jared Verse is fantastic. I think going forward, the Rams are going to be fine. You're going to be contending. And like I said, where you guys go is all going to be based on the back of Matthew Stafford. And that's literal. Are we going to need another epidural shot at some point during the season to keep the pain down? That's going to be everybody's question. We got to take a break. On the other side, we're going to talk to our guy, 24KG, about all things wrestling. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.
Give me a sec.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. I'm so glad these two are back. Although, it does kind of end Jay's entire reign as a solo contender, which we'll get to in a second. Our guy KG will be coming in through the phone, Sparky. There's some issues with his audio or with his video at the moment. And without being able to actually see what he's looking at, I can't exactly help him.
But I will repeat while we wait on KG. I was happy to see the Usos together, not just because they're one of the best tag teams, but with what we've talked about. I mean, Jay seemed super tired and fatigued, and when you're running down from the nosebleeds every TV show, and he's all panting and
he's done his best, man. He's gotten in the gym. Every time I see pictures, I mean, it's him and Braun Breaker, so you're working out with the right guy.
But when Big Jim is on the mic, he is so much good on the mic.
So much better on the mic. It's crazy how much better. And that's kind of the problem, I think, is them on the mic together. It really highlights that, how much better that Jimmy is sometimes on the microphone. And I cannot begin to explain how much I am ready to see these two back together in a tag team setting. I don't think it's going to be for long term, though. I think there's a big thing going around the internet right now that's making people believe that it's going that route, that they're kind of done, especially with what we heard on Raw 2 weeks ago of when Jimmy saved Jay, and all you hear is, "I can't do it alone. I can't do it alone." Now everybody's sitting there thinking, oh, this man ain't going to be alone. He's going to be going back to the tag team. But I can't wait to talk to our guy KG here in a couple minutes, because I have a question to post to him as well. I think that spirit at LA Knight last night was them speaking out in tongue saying, oh no, he's not going anywhere. He just needs help taking down B&B security. That's all it is. So once they handle B&B security, once CM Punk kind of takes care of his situation with Seth Rollins and now his wife coming into it with AJ Lee, I think that's going to be a fantastic. WrestlePalooza has really grown into a fantastic card up and down the board here. You get Stephanie Vaquera against Io Sky. We were supposed to get the contract signing last night. That didn't happen. You were supposed to get a whole bunch of interaction between some superstars last night, but I guess some travel issues happened and they couldn't get some people to where they were supposed to be. We end up getting the four-way that everybody wanted, though. Seth and Becky against CM Punk and AJ Lee. I'll get to my comments on AJ Lee at the end of this, because I have some unpopular opinion for y'all. You ain't gonna like me at the end of this episode. I'm sorry. And the other one, obviously, was B&B Security against the Usos, which honestly is going to be one of the best tag team matches we've seen from the four of them all together. I think this is going to be one of those situations where we can really get the most out of some of the best wrestlers we have in the WWE right now. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are slowly growing as the two biggest monsters on the main roster, but you're also pulling a guy like Bronson Reed up because everybody could not see him for some reason as anything more than a mid-carder. I disagree. I've always thought the guy has had some talent and has had some abilities to make it work. But with these matches against guys like Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and now you're going to get the Usos, you're really rubbing shoulders with some of the best of the best. And it's really starting to show what this guy can do. They really got to drop the tribal thief thing, though, in my personal opinion. You don't have the shoes anymore. You can't really call yourself the tribal thief anymore. But that's just me. That's my personal opinion. I cannot get over the fact that they are really pushing this entire tribal thief thing to its utmost limits. Because when they took the shoes off of him, I was like, well, he's not a thief anymore. He got his shoes back. So I don't know. That's the one part about the storyline that I don't really get. But we're going to get a fantastic match here coming up next weekend. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think it's this weekend. It's next weekend. Because this weekend would be Worlds Collide, which is
WrestlePalooza is next Saturday.
It's next Saturday. Okay, yeah. So it's Worlds Collide this Friday, which is Dom Mysterio going for the AAA World Campeon Championship against Vikingo, which is going to be fantastic. You can catch that on the YouTube channels, I believe. It's going to be technically through AAA, not through WWE. So it's going to be one of those situations where you're going to have to follow them on YouTube in order to watch it. It's completely free, though, for those of you who are, spiting the fact that we're going to have to pay $30 in order to get this thing to work. But it looks like our guy KG has actually gotten his camera to work. So let's shift over and get him in here. Sir, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can see him, but I don't know if I could hear him. Give me one sec. We got anything on his end? No?
Check.
No.
Check.
Go ahead and fidget with your mic, my guy. I don't think we can hear you. But real quick, while he's fidgeting with that, Spark, what did you think about the entire thing last night? I know you said you had to stop the Monday Night Football game in order to watch it.
Luckily, I was able to pause it. And I mean, overall, kicking off, I was happy with the Usos. I was happy to have them back. I was surprised with the Lyra Raquel match. I think this was probably the best match I've seen from Lyra. And I know Raquel is a G and she's a vet. So, I mean, she might be just a better, but overall, that match was awesome. I was about to give up on Lyra, but I think that match was solid, especially. And I am so in love with Asuka that everything that she does, I'm just a big fan. But I was going to bring up, not only, the Lyra, the Raquel, what's going on with Asuka and, all these other things. But I mean, it just shows how great this women division is in the WWE. And I don't even have to bring up, the Rheas and Liv and, the other big names. And now with AJ Lee back and, with what they're doing with Becky, it just shows so much just talent that the WWE has in the women's division.
And I love that
I think they just took over Raw last night.
I love that they're cracking jokes about it too, because a lot of people on the internet, there's still a lot of misogyny around the industry saying I can't get behind women's wrestling. And Shawn Michaels is having none of that. He's absolutely having none of that. I mean, the TikTok videos that they make with some of these athletes are fantastic just to make fun of that type of mindset. Because you're right. I mean, they are the best in the industry. I don't think there's any other promotion that could say that. Again, I'll get to my thoughts on the whole AJ Lee situation towards the end of this conversation because I have an unpopular opinion, but it is what it is. And personally, I think that they can continue to build this with these top tier athletes. I mean, Becky Lynch, Bayley, all of these women aren't going to be here for very much longer. And I don't mean that in a sense of we want them out. I mean them in a sense of they're all going to want to start their own lives eventually, much like we've seen Naomi start hers. And you can't wrestle for your entire life. You know what I mean? There's eventually going to be a situation where you have to just let go of the reins and let somebody else come in and be that person for a while. I think that you've kind of seen flashes of who those women are going to be. Obviously, Julia, Stephanie Vicaire, Roxanne Perez, I think is on that short list. And it's just great torches being passed to one and the other. So I agree with you 100%. Do we got KG now? I know you've been working with it, my friend. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
The other thing I was surprised with is they finally did something with Rusev, and with the match with him and Penta, what it cooked.
It did. Again, we need to find other options for guys like Rusev. You can't just bring in big name guys like that and then have them, be, I don't want to say non-factors. That's not the right word for it, but not have suitable competition for them to really take on, to
check.
really to show all of it, because Rusev is a fantastic, fantastic wrestler. And now I'm starting to see a lot of other people out on the internet say we need more Rusev and we need Rusev in this John Cena retirement tour. I have seen that from a couple people, so I'm glad I'm not the only one there. However, I don't think we're going to see it. I think it's a little too short-lived. We already got to get through Brock Lesnar, most likely Braun Breaker at some point. We'll get a shot at him. It's going to be really interesting to see how all of this kind of comes to fruition. But I agree with you. Seeing him go against other people, it's great to see, because it shows that they're still planning on pushing him at least towards the mid card. Because we need to see that at least. We've got to see some sort of push for Rusev into a championship level gold, because that's why you brought him back. You brought him back to complete his story, as you've done with everybody else. But that's, since we're already talking about Rusev, I'll just bring up my spot as we figure out this entire thing with KG's audio.
Check.
I know everybody of my age group is excited to see AJ Lee back. And it's
check.
There he is. Now we can hear you.
Hey.
So I'll present this to you since we're already in this.
Oh yeah, I've been keeping up with you guys. I could hear you.
I know you've been there the entire time. I feel you. So thank you. Rusev obviously being the talking point, but I'm going to switch it over to AJ Lee here because her promo was fantastic. But I'm going to explain my part and then let you ream into me, because I've already kind of told you the way I feel about this.
The unpopular opinion.
Care. I don't care. I do not care that AJ's back. I do not give a rat's that AJ is a part of the WWE again. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of AJ. She's a fantastic wrestler, and she is, like her husband, one of the greatest of all time to do it. But I'm going to throw this out to wrestling fans, and you guys can all text in and do as KG is about to do and call me an idiot. But why do we want to go back to 2015? Why are we so bent set on bringing back 2015 WWE when it wasn't good? There was nothing in that era that was good. Not AJ, not Punk. Punk wasn't even a part of it at the time. Not Becky. Not Nikki Bella. Not any of these people that you are bringing back right now. I think that we're just in this really weird motion of just capitalizing on nothing but nostalgia.
Absolutely.
And WWE is just forcing it a little too much. I think you could have gotten a lot of really good stuff out of people you let go, because a lot of these people who are angry that Karrion Kross and Scarlett got let go, they got let go because they needed the money for Rusev and AJ Lee. Remember that. These guys came in getting paid. And where does that money come from?
The fans.
You've got to know that.
Stockholders.
So that's my point. I don't understand why we're so bent set on going back to 2015.
Well, I'll give you a little hint on that, and it's not a totally unpopular opinion. It's a opinion I think that's being shared and kind of revolving around the internet right now. When you take a look at 2015 WWE and knowing that they are the nostalgia factory when it comes to reliving moments of our youth or just notoriety of the business, they're going to pump that like gasoline on the corner, man. They're going to make sure everybody's got a full tank, sick of it, or just tired of it. But we also have to remember this. 2015 WWE was a terrible place. Right. Terrible place. Not just for the women's division, not just for the men's locker room, for the people who were in the offices that had to deal with the previous regime and just some of the ludicrous storylines they would come with. You know, you got to think about even up until the most recent time before Rusev came back, the storyline that Vince had with Bobby Lashley and his wife Lana, which was crazy, which involved Dolph Ziggler and all kind of weird stuff. But let's take certain things from that era and try to make them, I'd say, justified in what they went through. Thus, why I think AJ Lee's back. Because in 2015, besides this storyline, of course, why she's back, but in 2015, we didn't have a women's Royal Rumble. We were still calling them divas, so to speak. We didn't have the Night of Champions. We didn't have a Queen of the Ring. We didn't have a lot of things that the women of this modern day WWE era have access to. You know, the NXT feeder system of developing these women into more than just characters, but legit superstars, not just somebody for a commercial break or to cool off a real hot match. Legit contenders like your Rhea Ripley and even Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair right now. So to see AJ Lee back in the midst of that, I think WWE, they know what they're doing as far as hitting you over the head for top dollar nostalgia. Prices aren't going down anytime soon, and it's another gouge at your pockets.
True. But
Seriously. Now, the card that they've built off of this with WrestlePalooza, of course, we're going to watch. But nonetheless, we cannot deny the fact that how many more people are they gonna bring back? Okay, we've got the Bellas or one Bella, so you know the other one's either under the ring or around the corner. You know, good old twin magic. We've got Rusev back. How many more people? We've got AJ Lee back. How many
we're
more
even
people are
going
gonna
back to
come
the
back?
Usos.
You know, we just brought the Usos back, which they cut a fire promo on the B&B guys last night. You know, we're looking at certain things that remind us of a time, but let's just hope they don't get too nostalgic in the product because we got to remember there was a time we were turned off from the product
Right.
because of just certain things that they were booking.
And that's my point is that if we're really, unless this is Paul Levesque really saying, you know what, I can take what Vince had and make it better. Like I can really take the concept that he had and turn it around into what it should have been. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I get there's a level of ego that comes into that with, with being the content creator. But do we really need to go back to 2025? I think that you were crushing it in 23, 24 with the stars that you have now made. You've already mentioned a lot of them, Rhea Ripley being one, the ones that are already coming up with Stephanie Vicaire and all these others. I don't think you really need to rub elbows with a lot of these people unless you have a main plan for them. Because to be honest with you, if the plan for Rusev was just to bring him back for a long matchup against Sheamus and then a run at the Intercontinental title, what's the point? Why bring him back at all? We could have had Karrion Kross, who is a bona fide superstar in the main event and would have had way better stories.
Definitely. You know, for as many W's that people say Triple H has provided us in this short time, with full control of creative, he's also gave us a few stinkers. You know, so you've got to look at it as touch and go, but he did learn from Vince. Putting his own spin on that is going to be what defines him in this whole era of creative for WWE in the moment that it is seemingly its most popular and profitable. So, you know, we kind of got to let that come to fruition
Marinate.
before. Yeah, we got to let it marinate just a little bit longer, you
That's
know.
fair.
I know Sparky ain't tripping. He's
I'm
like
not an AJ or CM fan, so I also like the
or Becky
nostalgia,
fan.
but I love Becky. But I'm 100% in on Asuka. So I just ordered her mask, so I'm hoping to present that into a video here in a couple weeks.
You
But
should put it right there.
I love her, man, and
Oh, there's
she's
a perfect spot right next to you.
we're also in the
Yeah.
middle of moving our studio here in the next couple weeks, so
True.
I'm hoping that whole week I've
True.
got some wrestling masks that I'm gonna bust out. But
Very
overall,
nice.
just from watching Raw last night, I am just so pumped about this women division. You just brought up 3 or 4 more that I didn't even bring up with Charlotte, with all the other stuff. And one thing I will say out of the women's division, I'm so sick of this Bailey crap. Like, I don't understand it.
Just
Is
put her in the Wyatts already.
production
Man.
is so horrible, and if she's gonna do the Wyatt thing, let her do the
I
Wyatt thing
don't
already.
think she is though.
But it doesn't look like it, and I'm still waiting for Nikki Cross. So I'm like,
Well,
okay.
one thing I realized last night about Monday Night Raw were potential heel turn setups that I think are going to swerve us, especially with the Usos and LA Knight situation. You know, people think Jay's acting more so like Roman, which I'm like, nah, he's acting like old school Jay Uso,
Yeah.
Uso Penitentiary, right hand man, stack him, smash him, very aggressive in how he's moving. Now, people, for the first time, you heard a couple of boos in those yeets, but it was still more
Mhm.
yeets. They were very aggressive yeets, but what I seen happen really, or seen happening, is a LA Knight heel turn coming up on the horizon because look, Jay Uso sells more merch than anybody in the country in the company, hands down. You think they're going to take their number one baby face who can go tween and in between this and that and just turn him heel? Nah, if it comes down to it, I think more so they're going to go ahead and give LA Knight that heel turn. He deserves it. They've been, putting him in contender match after contender match, and he's been coming up short. He's had the US title, what, twice?
Yes.
Twice now?
Yeah.
It's time to give this guy at least a 90-day world title reign, to the next PLE or something like that to push along a storyline. But I don't think we need to worry about the Usos going full-blown heel. Watch out for LA Knight because with everything that he's been doing, I see shades of TNA LA Knight.
Mhm.
Eli Drake coming out with the whole dummy button and all the insults are starting to accumulate a lot more viciously with
He reminded me of when
promos.
he came out in the beginning of Raw to interrupt. He reminded me of the old Stone Cold with the jeans, and he was just coming out, and I liked it. I think that'd be beautiful that he'll
He
turn
I
with
I
him.
think they're on to something.
he has really encapsulated the old school feel of the 90s wrestler really well.
Oh yeah.
And I know he gets a lot of grief from the internet claiming that he sounds too much like The Rock or he sounds like this or that. And you can kind of hear it in the tone now. He's trying to change it to, separate himself because as we've heard on LFG millions of times, anybody who tries to be The Rock, you're going to lose because you just can't. There's nobody else that can be that guy. But I mean, I agree with you. I said it last week. I think LA Knight's poised for a heel turn here. I don't think he cares about the fan base anymore. The Yaz are going to be there regardless,
Yeah.
and they
There's
really were
one right there.
setting up. Yep, exactly.
Mhm.
They were really setting up this entire feud between the two of them in the pregame of the last PLE. I
Yeah.
mean, when he's having that sit down with Kathy Kelly, and he's sitting there saying, "Well, he essentially stole my gimmick. I look at the glasses and the four-letter Y word and all this other stuff." They were setting that up perfectly. The entire time watching that interview, I'm sitting there saying, "Oh, we're getting LA Knight versus the Yeet Man here pretty soon." And
Yeah,
that's
versus Yeet.
I don't believe that any of the internet's push that we're done seeing Jey Uso as a singles competitor. I think that's all shenanigans. To put it lightly and clean it up. I don't think that that's not going to because he's like you said, he's too big. He's too big of a star. He's too big of a pull, and we just started. I highly doubt that Paul is sitting there thinking, you know what? Let's take the rocket off. It didn't work because yeah, it did.
It's still going up.
Yeah, I can't say that any of it didn't work. So I think we're headed towards a massive, massive feud between the two of them that's going to help both of their careers going forward. Let's move on to a different topic, though, since we're running out of time here. Dominic Mysterio this weekend goes up against Vikingo at Worlds Collide for the AAA championship. Does he walk away double champ Dom? I think so.
I would have to say yes, but also it leads to him dropping the IC title to AJ
somebody else.
Styles and AJ Styles becoming a member of. That's right.
Do you think
Already know
he's
where I'm
going to
going.
jump in?
Judgment Day. We get a reunited Judgment Day kind of Bullet Club faction with Finn. It fits. It works so perfectly. I
And
mean,
Liv can come back and be part of that too because she's got past with both Finn and AJ.
Come on, man. You got bun, cheese, burger, put it together. We eating over there, man.
No,
We eating over there.
Because the more we talk about it, man, the more I agree
Clubhouse
with
is gonna
you.
crack.
It is. And I don't think they have any plan to end the Judgment Day. That's their number one faction. It has been for years. And it would make sense for them just to kind of continue the Judgment Day as whatever the heck they want it to be. It doesn't have to be the dark, broody, vampire-esque theme that they had starting out with Edge and Damian Priest and Rhea. It can change into whatever it needs to be.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Now, did you notice that when they went to commercial break, the promo that AJ Styles cut was still put on social media,
Yep.
which lets you know this
Many
whole
times.
cast is not a shoot. You know, it's a work. Obviously, they want some type of friction with the fans believing that someone in WWE doesn't want AJ Styles there when they're continuously letting him do these things, either internationally, other affiliations. You know, this semi-retirement run that they're prepping us for, been hinting at. I don't think it's a retirement. I think it's a goodbye to the phenomenal AJ Styles
Mhm.
and hello to the six-time X Division champion, three-time NWA champion, two-time the leader of the Bullet Club, AJ Styles. We're gonna
Do we
see that.
lose do we lose the hair if he does end up turning heel and going back to his old ways? Because don't forget, he
Ah,
was short-haired back then.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
part of it.
I don't know. I
The
think he
clean
keeps
cut look
the
was
emo
part of it.
soccer mom. I think he keeps the emo soccer mom dude.
Hell,
For it's the hair flip. It's the hair flip for TV purposes. It
I mean,
adds to the
fair.
motion of the characters.
That's
But
fair.
definitely, I would have to say with Dominic Mysterio going down there, I think this time he actually peels the championship off of Vikingo. It adds to some more friction or something with the Americanos because they've been helping him along storyline wise. They're probably good. Like Finn said, there's
Well,
nothing in this business done without somebody asking for a favor. And they've been riding with Dominic. He's like, oh, it's a lucha thing. It's storyline wise. This feeds perfectly into them turning on Dominic or Dominic starting a lucha fashion. He might be recruiting some other luchas,
I can
but
see that.
nonetheless, it's gonna lead to him being ousted from
Well,
Judgment Day and AJ Styles possibly being inserted.
I don't know if he's gonna get ousted because if you listen to to what he said in the promo yesterday, especially during that interaction between him and Finn, where he's blaming everybody else and claiming, if you guys didn't get banned from ringside, I wouldn't need help and blah, blah, blah. And then
That
he's
was
going around
hilarious.
saying, I don't need help. I did it by myself. I think we're going to start to see the side of Dominic again of just being pretentious, of just
Well,
feeling himself a little
mhm.
bit too much, thinking he is the king of luchadors. And then that's when he's going to just go out on his own. He's just going to leave. And then all of Judgment Day is going to feel like they were betrayed by Dom because he just left them. And then maybe you do
Mhm.
get an entire faction of luchadors and the king of the luchadors leading it in AAA, because I think this is going to be a great start to a career for him in AAA, bringing that production up. And not to mention, we're going to see a new relationship born between Dom and his father, Ray, because Ray is down there acting as the pseudo GM of the AAA promotion right now. And
Yeah.
with Dom being his champion, imagine the storylines you can get out of that,
Oh
along
man.
some of the talent
The
they have down there.
the possibilities alone are quite limitless because he's one of the most over guys in the company and practically anywhere they go in the world right
He's one of the
now.
most over guys in Mexico. Like,
Yeah.
he's going to
The
run.
ovation that he got for just the previous interferences with spots leading up to Triple Mania, if those are any indication enough right there to show you how popular the Mysterio name still is and forever will
Mhm.
be in the market down there, clearly Triple H, WWE creative, they know this. So I think by setting Rey Mysterio up as their GM, so to speak, like you said, those storylines, you think about it, could start off as they have this history in WWE, but the whole time, as soon as they want to do a turn and he's realigned with his son, it's going to set whatever stadium they're in down there in Mexico, AAA, across seas, down south, wherever they're at, especially on television, it's gonna make mega champion bucks, baby.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, we're looking at a new money-made Dom Mysterio. We're looking at a fusion of like Alberto Del Rio, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio. These I'd have to say eras of when luchadors are really at their peak, their prime performance era. It exudes like, as Razor Ramon would say, oozing machismo.
And you know what's funny? I think this is really what is going to be what Eddie could have been.
Oh yeah,
I think
definitely.
we're finally gonna get a run of what Eddie could have been at this level. And I don't mean that in the sense of Eddie never got to Dom's level, But
Yeah,
the
Dom still's got to
longevity
be
of
a.
the championships are going to be shown here as what Eddie could have been through Dom, and I think that's a
Yeah.
great sign. Real quick before we let you go, because we are running out of time, what do you think is going to happen on Friday? Are we going to get a Brock Lesnar sighting again?
Yeah, he's live there.
And
He's the rarest Pokemon of them all.
He really is. I mean, at this point, but
And we get Drew and Orton on
Yep.
Friday.
What are your predictions?
I think with Orton and Drew, I would love to see some type of triple threat interference with Brock Lesnar, just to shake it up. You know what I mean? Why not? Why not? You know,
Just have him run roughshod through everybody's feuds.
Everybody needs to fall down by the wayside with Brock Lesnar. Let's get one of those old every random match that comes across the screen. He just runs in and F5s people. You know, since we're going back to 2015, we might as well go all the way back there. We might as well.
And then the lights go out and you hear,
bring him back too. Have all his LFG dudes jump.
You might as well set off the fire too. Let's bring Kane back in. Corporate Kane,
right.
come on, baby.
All that. Hey, might as well bring back Teddy Long and then have everybody in an 8-man tag team match that night.
Nobody can explain to me why we have to go back to 2015. Please, can we pick a better era of wrestling to at least immigrate?
Is annoying to me.
Look,
but
AJ is AJ. I'm not exactly keen on her being back just because that could have been Scarlett. That could have been Karrion Kross's money. But no, we had to cry and say, no, we need AJ.
And she signed a multi-year deal.
Of course she did. God. Why wouldn't they? There's been
it's
more
not like
money
we needed
made
more
now.
women.
Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. The product looks great, right? But have you ever put McDonald's back in the microwave and tried to eat it again? It's not that good the second time.
Not what you remember, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When you go back to that restaurant after a decade thinking, oh, I remember this when I was a kid. It's not the same. I promise you.
You've grown. Your palate has matured. Your taste buds have become more expansive in the realms of flavors, and honestly, it's great to see. I'm not knocking the career. I'm not knocking the move.
Brother.
It's just that with booking, this is going to go terribly bad. It starts off with Becky Lynch, but where are we going to go from here? Are we going to give her a title shot?
Becky rocked that outfit last night, dude.
The way they've been coordinating. I'm gonna keep it real. I know we don't talk fashion on this show.
Rock that, dude.
I know we don't talk fashion on this show, but just real quick, the way her and Seth have been coordinating, those are couple
100%.
goals. Those are goals you want to have as a couple, whether you're
what it is, dude.
Whether you're a teacher, a normal person, whatever. Hey, whoever the designer is real nice.
Remember the video a couple years ago when Becky was jealous of Seth Rollins' all poofy outfit for WrestleMania, and she's like, God, I wish I could wear. This is her time that she finally gets to wear this.
You see how she came out with the red, the glasses? She is purely embodying her husband's
dude.
The furry boots.
Cool. Yeah.
It's fantastic, man. Well, thank you so much for your time, my brother. As always, we'll talk to you next week. And condolences, my friend. We won't
love you. Much love. I just want to send some shout out to my family, man. Thank you for everybody that's been checking in on us. We lost our grandmother this Sunday. And at 102.
That's a hell of a run, my friend.
It's a blessing. So I just want to say thank you to you guys in the community out there. We really appreciate it. And love y'all, man.
It's a good thing for those of you who are listening to us right now, because that means you're going to be listening to me, Sparky, and KG talk about wrestling for the next 70 years.
Yeah.
This man's going to be alive till 102.
They'll make us do it till we're 90.
Absolutely. And I'll be doing it every single day, loving every single minute of it. My friend, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you next week. We got to take a break, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.
Shooter McGavin.
I'm surprised they're playing Drake.
There's a reason.
There's a reason.
I would not usually play Drake,
I don't
or
know.
as we say in my family, D Reiki.
Reiki. Where did that? Hold on. Before we go any further, you have to explain.
It's just the what is that show on Comedy Central?
Oh, Key and Peele.
Yes, I
Okay, I
just
get
stole
it.
it from him. But
Okay.
Canadian rapper Drake placed a bold $300,000 wager on Yannick Sinner to win the 2025 U.S. Open. As he lost to Alcaraz.
Okay.
Keeping that Drake.
Drake can spend as much money as he wants. It's his money. He's going to make it back in a day. I realize that. But Drake, you need to realize something, my friend. You have what we call the mush syndrome. Okay. It is created by our own Ralph Bailey here in Bakersfield, California. So you can come in here and talk to him and see what he does to combat it, my friend. But stop making bets on people. Stop it. You ruin everything. I swear, every time I hear this guy makes a bet on somebody sporting wise, he loses. I don't know. Never. Actually, at this point, if you're a sports handicapper like our own Bolt Brady, you can hear him on Thursday. He'll come in here at 8:30 and give you his picks the week for week 2 of the NFL and week 3 of the NCAA. However, if you are a handicapper, you should be monitoring every single bet that Drake makes just so you can solely pick the opposite. You will make trillions. I say trillions, my friend, because at this point right now, you might as well just walk. If I'm Drake's homie, I'm walking up to Drake just with a friendly wager. Hey, brother, you want to put a game? You want to put something down on the game? Just any game. I don't care which one. 50K right now, and you're getting 50K a handful every single game. This guy
just take the opposite.
Awful, awful. Just stop betting. I know it's your money. Do with it of you what you will, my friend. And at this point, you're just paying every other sports bettor. But every single time, or maybe it's just because it's every time he loses, everybody has to highlight it. But have we ever heard of Drake actually winning a bet?
No.
Ever?
No.
So please stop betting. Please.
So some of our texts we'll start with the wrestling one just because we just wrapped it up. It
Absolutely.
says leave the did it before Becky best-selling author AJ Lee alone. Bird. WrestlePalooza main event, Punk and AJ versus Seth Rollins and Becky.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm not saying it's not going to be good. That's not my point. My point is why are we going backwards?
I think it's more of the Karrion Kross disappearance.
That too. I'm so disappointed in that. But my point is this. I was personally excited for the future and what is coming up. All the faces that were coming in, your Trick Williamses, your Tiffany Strattons, your Rhea Ripleys, and all of those, your Damian Priests. I don't need to go back to 2015, homeboy.
And the women's division is so
stacked. It doesn't
stacked.
Need help.
Like I could get it maybe for this match, but a multi-year deal, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I'm all for it. Like, don't get me wrong. There's nobody else that would have fit this match perfectly like AJ. I'm not saying that. The build to this is perfect. Getting Seth and Becky against Punk and AJ. It fits the storyline exactly the way you want it. But do we really need her forever? No, we really don't. Just like we don't need Brock Lesnar forever. As much as I love seeing the Beast in the WWE, I'm okay without seeing him just run in and do rough shot every single time.
Yeah, might as well just bring back The Rock too.
Exactly.
The next one says the kid you guys were talking about from the Ravens-Bills game just came out and did an interview with a neck brace on and is playing it up.
Oh, of course he is. Yeah, because he needs his own defense. But regardless, it's self-defense, dummy.
Yeah.
You hit them.
It's on video, dummy.
You can't exactly walk away from that. There is video of you hitting these guys in the helmet. And granted, you aren't going to harm them in any way, but you're still assaulting somebody. You're still touching them without their permission, which is not allowed, even if you bought a ticket.
And the last text, it says, hey guys, I've got a fantasy question. What are your thoughts? Should I trade Tank Bigsby for Hollywood Brown? Is it a good or bad trade?
I'd say if you need wide receiver help, it's a good trade because I don't know how much Tank Bigsby is going to be seeing the field anymore with this trade to Philadelphia. And Hollywood looked pretty promising in week 1. I'm still not sold on this Chiefs offense, to be honest with you. But if you need a wide receiver, I think Hollywood seems to be next to Juju Smith-Schuster, believe it or not, the main target. And that's the other thing I meant to bring up too about that Friday night game. We give a lot. I don't mean we personally don't, but the media loves to give Juju Smith Schuster grief still. And same with the internet. And again, rightfully so, a couple years ago for the TikTok dances and stuff like that. That was kind of dumb. But can we let up on this kid at all? Like, he has been a consistent wide receiver. Now, granted, sure, he's slower than you would want for some wide receivers, but he still gets open. He still catches balls, and he makes a lot of big plays for whatever team he's playing on at any point in time. I think we need to start respecting Juju a little bit more again. He doesn't do the TikTok dances anymore. I think he's learned from his mistakes. I think the year with Bill Belichick definitely whipped him into shape a little bit. And I think it's time for the internet to give this guy a pass. I genuinely do. I don't think he deserves the hate that a lot of people give him. But then again, this is me speaking as a USC fan as well, and I've always loved Juju Smith-Schuster.
Well, we'll take our final break, wrap up the show, preview tomorrow's, and get into some miscellaneous news right here on the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM. Welcome back. Final segment of the day here on this Tuesday. I thank KG for joining us, and condolences to him and his family. Our prayers are with you.
A big shout out to Josh and Edmund who won our fair tickets today. And we'll have some more all week. Just tune in from 7 to 9 a.m.
Appreciate you guys listening as always. And tomorrow's show will be a good one, obviously 7 to 9 a.m. as always. I believe tomorrow is when we will be having Anthony come in, correct? Or is that Thursday?
That's Thursday.
That's Thursday. Thursday will be Anthony and Bolt Brady.
Tomorrow is Rob and Cal
That's right.
for BC updates.
And we will love to talk to them after BC's huge home win against Allen Hancock over the weekend. I hope you guys utilized the free college game that night. If you were on the east side and you didn't go to a game or to that game specifically, what were you doing?
Yeah, our buddy Dawson went to the game.
See?
And said he was surprised on it wasn't as packed as it should have been.
I hate hearing that. We have a good football program here at Bakersfield. 2-0 right now. They are killing it with two good quarterbacks that you're probably going to be seeing on Saturday nights for other colleges here pretty soon. You're missing out on opportunities here, people. I'm telling you. I think people take it a little for granted around here, but we are a gold mine for athletics. We really are. We have some great athletes locally at our colleges and our high schools. If you are not going out and watching some of these games, you're doing yourself a disservice. Your nephew may not be on the team, but doesn't mean you can't go enjoy a football game every now and then.
Yep. Tomorrow we'll have Rob Chavez and Kenny Calvin at 7:30 for our BC update segment. Thursday at 8, we'll have Anthony from the open mic over at Ava's, which hopefully we'll get an update here in the next week or so with Dan Betts as when the Well Comedy Club will open. Plus, we'll have Bolt Brady, the opposite of a mush, is at 8:30 Thursday. Friday, we'll do our football picks at 7:30. We'll welcome back Chris Flail from San Francisco. He should be giving us an update on how that went. And then 8:30, we'll have our Raiders report from Jason Horowitz, the voice of the Las Vegas Raiders.
With the Raiders coming up on Monday Night Football this week, part of a doubleheader, and this is going to be a great weekend of football. I would be starting on Thursday, which you could hear right here on ESPN Bakersfield, Washington at Green Bay. That's going to be a great game. Jaden Daniels taking on Micah Parsons and Jordan Love, the Bakersfield boy. I'm not 100% sure what the slate of games will be on Sunday. I know Sunday night you'll get Atlanta at Minnesota right here on ESPN Bakersfield. And then the 2 Monday night games will be Tampa Bay at Houston. Be a fantastic Monday night matchup. And then, as I said earlier, the Chargers will be headed to Las Vegas to take on Geno Smith. Pete Carroll, the oldest winning head coach in the NFL.
Winning.
Speaking
of that, there's a new documentary coming out. I believe it's released tomorrow with Charlie Sheen, and it looks awesome.
Charlie Sheen?
Charlie Sheen? Charlie? You never heard of him?
Charlie. Yes, I know Charlie.
Charlie?
I am excited about that, but I've heard some
looks awesome.
Interesting leaks that have already come out of this, and I'm like, I think I might be able to skip that portion of the conversation.
I've read some of it. I know the family's not happy.
No. Well, I mean, okay. What did you expect, Estevez? I mean, come on, dude. It's Charlie. I mean, if there is one depiction of a black sheep of a family, it's Charlie Sheen with the rest of the Estevez family. Come on. Let's be completely honest here. So was anybody going to be happy that this book was coming out of this docuseries or whatever you want to call it?
It's awesome. I think it's going to be a great documentary.
I think everybody is always in to watch train wrecks, which
that's what it should have been another train wreck episode.
It really should have been.
But we did get another text says, your guys' thoughts on Caleb. Do you really think he's going to be the starter for the rest of the week? Because I can see him getting benched this season.
That loss was not on Caleb Williams whatsoever. I do not blame Caleb, although, again, I do understand you had plenty of opportunity to score throughout the game. He still led the offense pretty well. No turnovers, no miscues. He threw for 60% he completed 60% of his passes. Should have been higher. There were a handful of balls that were dropped by those receivers. So at this point, Chicago, quarterback is not your problem. And you put an offensive line in front of him that's going to protect him. So that's going to show throughout the season. What's going to really shoot you in the foot is the penalties. It's the miscues, the mental mistakes. I'm sorry. And you need to get over those in order to actually have the scoring drives that you want. So I don't blame Caleb whatsoever. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, Caleb is far from the issues
Yeah.
in Chicago. I think the offensive line, I think the whole offense is got some things to work out, but the penalties is one. The defense, or at least the secondary, I think will shape up. It's 1 week.
The front seven look great.
But Rome, I love that kid, Rome Odunze.
Mm-hmm.
I think the backfield is going to have some issues.
You got to find a running back. I think that's really the main thing. I think DeAndre Swift would be a great secondary running back for you, but I think you need to find some sort of power back like an Ashton Genty or something like that. I know you can't get him, but like somebody along those lines of a prototype.
A workload.
Yeah, a workload for sure, I think would definitely help you, but you got to find some sort of prominent running back to help him out because that's really what's missing from this offense.
And I did see Ian Rappaport report this morning that the Chiefs and Pittsburgh are pushing to get Tyreek. And we've talked about it in the offseason, and like even Tyreek said, it's one game. Luckily, it only counts for one loss, and he expects them to clean up a lot of it. And Xavier Howard, former Dolphin, did an interview yesterday and said that, he told the defense after working with Tua that as long as we can get into his first read, that the quarterback gets in panic mode.
Well,
and that's what we saw. And that's exactly what we saw. I don't think McDaniel, the offensive mind, unless he's just given up on the team, I would expect Miami to at least give the Patriots a good game this week. But if the Dolphins, go 0-4, 0-5, I think not only the GM and the head coach are getting fired, but I would not put it past, if you're going to get into not this full rebuild, but to clean up some of this money pit, I think it's going to be Tyreek getting traded. And I don't think they'd work with Pittsburgh again, but I could definitely see him going back to Kansas City.
Well, but that's even if they want him, though, because 2 hours ago it was just released by ESPN that TMZ found some interesting court documents that claims that Tyreek's estranged wife
that was yesterday,
putting in some court filings about some domestic violence situations that happened between the two of them. So if this ends up being true and he ends up having to deal with some legal issues,
it's the same thing that they brought up in the summer with the divorce and how much money he's paying. But I wouldn't expect it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's been following him. She's just that attorney is perfect with the timing.
And that's why I don't believe in coincidences, to be completely honest with you. Most of them are fabricated by other people. So it usually is that at most of these times. But Tyreek Hill having to deal with this on top of potentially being traded, I do think that the entire project in Miami just isn't working. It's not. Like, I don't think that he's the answer for Miami. And I think Miami's really starting to realize it, that they can get the same kind of production from Jalen Waddle. And I didn't realize this. But have you noticed that it's been over a year since he's had a completion over 30 yards? He shared that on McAfee the other day. It has been a calendar year since Tyreek Hill's last completion of over 30 yards.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he played with backup quarterbacks last year.
Absurd. I realize that, but
I also see a lot of the Palm Beach and Miami reporting that that they really like this Quinn kid. I haven't seen enough to prove anything, but I think it starts with the GM and the head coach.
I think you're right. And honestly, we mentioned it yesterday. I genuinely believe that you're right, that if you guys can't clean this up in the first 4-5 weeks of the season, yeah, there might be some heads lopped off in terms of jobs lost here. Because McDaniel, although you've had a lot of promise coming in, they haven't seen the value really come back. And I know I've highlighted this, but he doesn't seem like a confident person a lot of the time. He doesn't. Like sometimes when he gets thrown a question where he really doesn't have the answer,
he just talks in circles
and he stutters, and it just like I know that's not something that should lose you your job, not saying that, but it definitely shows a lack of confidence as a head coach, and that's not really what you want in the league right now. That is all we got for you guys today, though. Join us back here tomorrow, 7 to 9, as always. As we said, we'll talk to the guys from BC, give you an update on that, plus all things in college sports. This is the Early Bird Special. We got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.